in the right corner.
All right. What's up? What's up? Highway Jack and the Angry American is live and kicking. Tim Kenny sitting co-host. Say hello, young man.
What's going on?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I was on my way over here and take a little drink of the Monster drink there.
There he goes. He'll be choking on it in a minute.
Yeah. And on the way over here and was like, yeah, we got, a special guest. Military Mike is going to be with us. And come to find out, Military Mike picked up a date for the evening.
Got to take them when you can get them.
Well, we know where them priorities are. It's all good, though. I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit.
Not at all.
But I tell you what, we have got an action-packed show. How do you have an action-packed radio show? Because we got so much to talk about that it is insane in the membrane. And first, I gotta start off on this. And as much as I hate to report bad news right out of the gate from somebody local, but you guys may have heard that we had an officer ambushed down in Eastman, and he was just that, ambushed. Officer Smith, and this gentleman has been with the force for only 2 years, and he was 2 days away from celebrating his 32nd birthday. And that young man left 3 small children. I mean, that's a sad deal. He was called out to a suspicious persons call. Now, we're not sure if the suspicious person was just to get him out there or if somebody actually felt they had the need to call the police for a suspicious person. But the guy was caught going down to Florida, had a relative, I believe it was, of his, Royheem Deeds, going down toward Gainesville. They pulled the car over and found him in the trunk. They were able to apprehend the guy, take him in, and apparently he didn't put up a fight. Now, what's going to happen from there, I'm not real certain. But I do know that his funeral arrangements have been set for, I believe it is
August 18th.
August the 18th. What day is that, Tim?
It would be, this is the 16th, so that's going to be Thursday.
Okay, and they were going to originally have this at the Stokes Sutherland Funeral Home, but they have already figured out, which they, in my opinion, should have known. They have already figured out they're going to have way too many people to have it there at the funeral home, so they are going to have it at a local gym, I believe was what I heard. Did you get any info on that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Dodge County High School Gymnasium.
And I can assure you that won't be a big enough venue to hold this. My prayers and condolences go out to the family, but I mean, this is the kind of stuff in America that has got to stop. Tim and I had to change our complete format or itinerary, I guess you'd say, for the show today because of all the craziness that went on this past weekend. And I guess, it really, I'm trying to stay focused on that because it's hard to not get angry, being the Angry American, because that went down in Milwaukee is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and of all places, I mean, Sheriff Clark, if anybody knows him, he's been very outspoken through everything going on in the presidential election, and very firm about it. And quite honestly, I was a slight bit disappointed in the way it was handled initially. Now, I understand there's political protocol when something like this happens, up and beyond the standard protocol of handling a police situation. But here's the thing about that really gets me about the whole deal on this particular shooting of all shootings. And that is, we have a criminal. Okay. This guy, no doubt, bottom line, is a criminal. He gets pulled over. Not really sure. I don't think they've ever announced why he was pulled over. And that's, quite frankly, that's irrelevant. He gets pulled over, has a stolen gun in his possession, takes off, hightails it away from the police, and of course, all the hood rats, and that's just what I can call them, a bunch of hood rats, said that he got shot in the back, which again, a false narrative, just like the whole Michael Brown instance and everything that went on up there. He didn't get shot in the back. He got shot in the arm and in the chest or in the torso. So that right there, first out of the gate, you got the community lying about what happens, and he's pointing a gun at the police officer. And then there's an alderman up there, and I don't recall the guy's name, but an alderman up there in Wisconsin was said, well, just because he pointed the gun didn't mean he was going to do harm. What? Are you freaking kidding me?
Point a gun at me and see what happens.
That's what I'm talking about. A police officer gets a gun pointed at it. Let me tell you something. If you're going to point a gun at somebody, expect to get shot. Bottom line. I mean, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard, first and foremost. But yeah, he did get shot. He did die from it. But let's talk about this. I mean, the BLM is all over, and I'm going to hit that in a little bit. But I just want to bring to light about this particular gentleman. And you notice I probably shouldn't even say gentleman, but the guy is in his 20s. What was he? 23 years old. Okay. Now, 23 years old, and he's got a criminal history going back to 2013. Okay, so he really hasn't been a criminal that long. I mean, it sounds to me like the guy might have had a chance to go somewhere had he not started hanging out. I mean, I don't know his particulars, but I do know since 2013, he's had no less than 13 arrests. Now, some of those are minor offenses. I mean, stuff like speeding, driving without insurance, driving with a suspended license, having open intoxicants in a vehicle. But then there's some serious charges. He was accused in a shooting last year and charged with recklessly endangering safety, which is a felony. Okay, so he's up on a felony charge. Well, then he was subsequently accused of pressuring the victim to recant statements. Okay, if you don't know what that means he basically went to the guy's house and said, look, you testify, I'm going to put a cap in your ass. Would you not assume that? I mean, that is pretty much what it is. Now, get this. The charges were dropped.
They dropped the charges, but then they turned around and charged him with.
They dropped the charges because the victim recanted the identification, failed to appear in court. So he winds up pleading guilty to carrying a concealed weapon. All right. Again, a felony. He's got a ton of drug arrests, and he has a use of force charge. 13 different things. Now, and here, this is what kills me about all these. Now, keep in mind, and all these guys that have been shot, and it's really not that many when you get down to it. Okay, and I'll talk statistical numbers here in a minute on the shootings by police. But what do you think his mom said to him?
I didn't ever hear what his mom said. I know what his dad said.
Well, I don't know what his dad said, so we can share some knowledge there. Of course, his mom said that he was a good person, and my son is gone due to the police killing my son. No, moms, you were the mother of a criminal. He got shot for criminal activity. Bottom line. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
It ain't got anything to do with the police shooting your son.
No.
Your son pointed a gun at somebody and got shot. That's the thing that aggravates me about the way they put it out there. Oh, it was somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault.
Well, the alderman that I can't recall his name, that's what he said. Another black man was murdered. The guy was not murdered. He was shot down during criminal activity. Big difference.
He was killed. He wasn't murdered.
Yeah. And he brought it on himself. Now, the sister, we talked about the sister of the video.
Yeah.
The sister said her brother carried a gun because he was scared and needed to protect himself, not because he was violent. Okay, let me think. He was just charged in a murder case. Then he threatened a witness, which is on record, but he was not a violent guy. In fact, she said he was a ladies' man. And I'm thinking, are you freaking kidding me?
That just makes it okay.
Yeah. Now, his godmother says, I'm not going to say he was an angel. He was out there living his life. Now, in the hood, what that means is doing what I need to do to make my money.
Yep.
In other words, illegal activity. End of story. Bottom line, cut and dry. Now, what gets me, CNN, the Clinton News Network, showed a video, and we talked about this earlier, that, she didn't want violence. This is the part of the video they showed. We don't need violence in our neighborhood. That's the part of the video they showed. What they didn't show you was the part of the video where she finished that statement by saying, we need our hair weave shop. Even though I don't wear a weave, we still need it. Take that to the suburbs and burn the white people's houses down. Okay, so they didn't really quote that properly, or didn't show the video. There's no quote. She's actually, if you look it up, matter of fact, it's on the Angry American page, the video in its entirety, where she says basically go out and start riot, and she's not being charged with inciting a riot or anything.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not.
Now, if you and I were to do something like that, no, go out in the hood and torch the Impalas on the 24s, you know, we would have been charged in a New York minute.
You think?
And I know you said you had a few things you wanted to mention about that. What did Dad say? You said Dad.
Oh, yeah,
what did Dad say?
Dad actually, I got to give him props. He did come out and say that
I raised a criminal.
Well, yeah, in so many words, he did actually.
Now, is it like father, like son?
What he said, his exact words were he had been in prison, jail, prison. I think he said prison. I don't have it in front of me, but that this was his fault for not being there as a father, and he apologized.
You know, I said I was going to bring some statistical data, and since you brought that up, let me talk about that for just a minute. Statistically speaking. All right. The Brookings Institute, which is a very liberal institute, did a study, an independent study. Okay. It was not based on, you know, Republican, Democrat, good, bad, or indifferent. But they come out and they said, if you want to not be permanently poor in America, it's easy. That was their statement. It's easy. Okay. So all these guys talking about how bad it is. You know how many things they quoted to have after all their studies was done that you needed to do to not be permanently poor in America?
What's that?
It's 3 steps. It's a 3-step program. And at first, when I started reading this and listening to the guy, I was thinking, because it was one of those things, you read it for so long and then, oh, there's a video I could have watched and didn't have to read all that crap. But anyway, here we go. Number one's a tough one, man. It's really tough out there, especially considering the dumbed down of our poor our teachers are just, their hands are tied behind their back. But anyway, the number one thing is to finish high school. The second is just get a job. Just get a job. And the third, and this is probably the toughest thing for them to do out there, don't get pregnant before getting married and finishing high school. That's it. It's that easy. That is proven. And how they did that is they just took the people that have had problem lives, studied them, found out what happened to them. They didn't finish school, yada, yada, yada. That's it. But it also goes back, they dug a little bit deeper. And I mentioned this, and I don't remember if I mentioned this in a live feed or on air, but it goes back to the family. I mean, it always goes back to the family and to education. In the 1960s, when the black community was trying to better themselves and grow and, you know, really trying to do everything right, the single mom family household was only 20% of the black families out there. So 20%, not such a bad number. I mean, given the strife and everything going on in the 60s, today, where we have everything going for us, everything that you could imagine is being funded for you. You're getting EBT, you're getting housing, you're getting all this stuff. Today, the single mom household in the black community is upwards of 70%. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, you know, and I had mentioned to you, and I'll try to, I'll try to put his page, but Tommy Sotomayor TV has got a YouTube channel, and he really breaks it down. But basically what happens is these women get pregnant for two reasons pretty much. I mean, obviously you have the accidental pregnancy, but the rest of them, they either get pregnant because they realize that, hey, the more kids I have, the more money I can make. And it's a proven fact. There is video after video, interview after interview where black female women, well, I guess if they're black female, they're women anyway. That's kind of rhetorical. But yeah, I don't know in today's society. I mean, you know, it may have started out one way and finished another.
You can't tell.
But there's two ways. They either do it to have children, or they are really good moms out there that are trying to do the right thing, but they have to work 2 and 3 jobs, so they're never home. So the kids run wide open. So, I mean, the bottom line, this takes personal responsibility on the black community. I mean, they need to quit pointing the finger. And if this were true in the white community, and don't get me wrong, we do have problems in white communities in certain segments of America. I mean, there's no question about that. But bottom line, it's personal responsibility. I mean, that's what it's about. Quit pointing the finger. You're getting everything handed to you. The whole thing about white privilege, that doesn't exist. If it existed, I would have me a nice house on the lake, you know, with a swimming pool in a backyard.
I ain't got a swimming pool.
You know, a travel trailer or something. I mean, it doesn't exist. I work 3 jobs. I know you work a couple. I mean, you got to get out there and work. It takes responsibility. I mean, if you wanted to say anything about statistical disparity, then I want to be on an NBA team. Why can't I play ball? Just because I'm a white dude and I'm short?
There you go.
I mean,
I was just gonna say short.
Hey, you know, bottom line, can I claim racism on that?
Larry Bird was white, so he played ball.
Yeah,
You're
but
just too short.
that was a few years back. Things have changed now. I mean, what the point to that being is, if it was a statistical disparity, in other words, the statistics because of X, Y, and Z making it so high and ABC making it so low, then you could blame one or the other. But that's not the case. It's based on your credentials, what you can and can't do. It's simple. I mean, this is a liberal institute that said, you do those 3 things, finish high school, get a job, don't get knocked up and have a bunch of babies before you do that, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, for the most part. Just back to the dad. I could not find what I was referring to. I know that he said it. I did see it, but I can't find it right off. But he come back to say the father of the Milwaukee police shooting victim, Seville Smith, pleads with young men to, quote, wake up, urge them to stay away from drugs and to put the guns down. Hey, this guy apparently has learned something in his.
He's had a wake up call.
Well, he's been in prison, so I'm assuming that he's now trying to teach them from what he did or didn't do.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, you remember back. I don't know if it was. I'm thinking it was in the 70s. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I don't remember if I was in elementary school or junior high. But the original Scared Straight.
Oh yeah,
you remember that?
Oh yeah,
they took those kids out, and I mean, they really. It was not. The last one was not so much, and all these ones where they take these kids into, you know, the so-called boot camp thing. And I mean, all that is drama TV. It's not a lot of reality. But that original Scared Straight was just that. It was Scared Straight. I mean, bottom line.
Yeah, they have quit doing it because there was so much complaining about the way that they treated the kids. Oh, come on now. Can't treat them like that.
I know.
Well, that's the problem is people can't whip their kids. We talked about this week. I know, you know, growing up, it was, if you were at the neighbor's house and you did something wrong, what they do? They'd whip your butt. Then when you got home and dad found out about it, dad was going to whip your butt for getting a butt whipping from the neighbor. So, you know, and now you can't do that. I mean, everybody wants to scream and holler about, oh, you touched my kid, I'm calling who and what, and it's ridiculous. And that is some of the basis of what's going on is the fact that kids these days aren't disciplined.
No, they're not. I mean,
they have no respect,
thing.
No respect, no discipline. They are rude. I mean, I just today go through a drive-through at one of the local fast food restaurants, and you know, I pull up to the window and I paid the first lady, and, you know, she was very polite. Thank you, please. And, you know, and what have you. And I pull up to the second window to get my food. And the first thing I get is a bag shoved in my face, a drink shoved at me, did not speak one word to me. Not one word. Didn't say, thank you, come again. Didn't say, kiss my butt, nothing. It was.
Are you talking about the drive-through, or are you talking about when you're at home?
Well, both.
Oh, okay. Let's just check.
I've just come to grips with it at the house. It's just, it's that way. When we were growing up, that's not the way we were raised.
No,
we were raised to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and thank you, and please.
But that goes back to the whole thing about the
butt whipping.
Well, that and just the you know, being at home and having parents. Okay. God, I can't think of the guy's name. I'll look it up and I'll let you know after the commercial break. But he's from Milwaukee, and he was on Hannity the other night. Black gentleman, very well spoken. If you want to pull up the Angry American page of video, we got a commercial coming up in less than a minute. But that gentleman hit the nail on the head. He said when the police told on TV, they come out apparently in Milwaukee and said, go down there, parents, go down there and get your kids. And he said, there is no such thing as parents going to get your kids.
It's moms.
It's moms, exactly. And
James T. Harris.
James T. Harris. He was on Hannity, I think, last night. If it wasn't last, well, it would have had to be last night. So, you can check him out. But that man, check his page out. He's got a public page, and it's awesome. We're going to commercial. We will be right back at you.
Pull this mic up a little bit. Oh, and I'm right in.
Tubas, bear with us. All right, I turned you up a little bit.
I'm dead up in the thing. What's happening to you?
All right, we are back with you. Highway Jack, Angry American, and Tim sitting shotgun. All right, here's a couple of things we're going to go over tonight. Of course, we talked about the Milwaukee thing. We're going to touch on BLM, the Clinton lies. Yes, we were really focusing on that, but we turned it down a little bit. We're going to talk about the Clinton death toll. You might have heard about that. And we're definitely going to talk about Second Amendment. We got some gun stuff coming up. We knocked out the whole white privilege thing. We know that doesn't exist. Tim's going to talk about Al Sharpton. I got to hear that because I haven't seen the script on that, so I got to hear that. And we're going to talk about a few other things after some breaks. And then we're going to talk about Bill Clinton's health a little later on. We've got some good facts. Well, not facts. It's facts if they're true. It's in a book, so, not everything written is true, so we'll see.
Oh, come on, man. You know everything on the internet is true.
Well, this is actually in a book, so,
Then it's on the internet somewhere.
Well, yeah. So what did you have something that you wanted to run down?
Oh, let's see. I've got all kinds of stuff. Where you want me to start?
I don't care, man. Roll with it.
While we're talking about not Al Sharpton, I'll get to that in a minute. We're about the Milwaukee shooting up there. I've got a ton of stuff on it. That was when I was doing show prep Sunday night, which is the only day I get to do it. There's just a ton of stuff, but most everybody knows all that. Some of the things that I did pull up was some of the cell phone video. Have you seen some of this stuff?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Oh my gosh, man. I about lost my freaking mind watching that stuff, man. I bet my blood pressure, I should have took like multiple blood pressure pills because, dude, them hood rats running around first off their pants. They got to hold them up all the time. But you're going to talk about them chasing down anybody white in the cars and yanking them out and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to give you the quotes. The quotes now, and I'm quoting.
Now this is what the kids said. The street kids.
Yeah,
the thugs.
This is the
droopy
ones.
drawers.
Yeah, that's the ones.
The hood rats.
Yeah, and I quote. This was on the video. I actually watched the video and heard the audio myself. Watched and heard.
Now, did you get a Ebonics translator to quote that? I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not. I didn't, and that's the reason I'm reading it and I'm quoting it. Just some of the stuff. Is they white? Somebody shouts regarding a passing motorist. Is they white?
Right.
And then somebody yells back, "Yeah, they white. Get their asses."
Yeah. Now, if we did that,
yeah.
Well, now here's the thing: you realize that during all this going on, that the community, we'll call it, pretty much barricaded all the ins and outs. And anytime cops came in, they were pounding the cars with bricks, and of course they set several of them on fire, as well as the BP gas station.
Yeah,
yeah.
And all this was in the same area that they were videoing, because actually one of the videos that I did watch, you could see the BP gas station in the background burning. Then the shouts continued as one of the crowd members said, "Hey, they beaten down every white person."
Now, was that the white girl? I mean, the black girl in the video from her in her apartment up top?
No, this was actually on street.
Did you see that video?
I have not.
She's up there and she's screaming, "Oh my!" And she was actually appalled at it. Now, and guys and gals, we are not. Let's get this real clear, real quick. We are by no means saying, because if you look on my Angry American page, you'll see that I have multiple videos and commentary from black folks out there talking about how they're appalled at this. But this girl's watching. They yank a girl out of a white female out of her car and start pounding on her. And she's screaming that it's a bad thing, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, you just start hearing gunshots ring out, and they freak out, and they have to go tuck tail and hide for cover.
Yeah, they ran.
And I believe, what was it? I think there were 5 people shot, was the report I heard.
I didn't ever hear a number on how many were shot.
I mean, they were a ton of bullets flying, but I think five people were injured, I think, from the report that I read, so don't quote me on that.
You go back, and I'm not going to back up that far, but you go back to the Dallas shootings. Here they are, they're having their Black Lives Matter, or as Forrest Gump would put it, the Black Panther Party. And you watch that video, there's 2 or 3 videos that I saw on that when the shots started ringing, what did they do? Every one of them ran behind the cops.
Shots rang out like a bell. I heard shells falling.
And they ran behind the
cops. In my 5.0.
And are you drunk again? But and here they are. We're protesting the cops because the cops are so bad to us.
Well,
as soon as the shot.
Here's a funny thing, though. The cop that shot the black guy was what?
Black.
He was a black cop. So and I am using a preference if in big bold letters with big quotation marks, if Black Lives mattered, does this cop's life not matter?
Nope. Because he's a cop.
Right. The BLM, their program and their profile pretty much is against cops and blacks. Because if Black Lives mattered, you got in Chicago had like 40 people killed last year. Okay. So if Black Lives really mattered, why wouldn't they do something about that? See, that's the thing about, and I wish that I had a guest I wanted to bring in here and I couldn't get him.
Wait a minute, back up. What'd you say? There was how many people killed last year? Is that what you said?
No, last weekend.
Okay. I thought you said last year, and I was thinking, no, there's been way more than 40. No. Oh man, but yeah, it's crazy. That it's just
you want to know statistical killings. Okay, there were 6,000. This is according to Kevin Jackson, who is a black radio show commentator who. He did announce where he got this information from, and I don't recall what it was, but you can pull his video up and see. But here's the deal. There were 6,000 blacks killed last year. Now, how many of them did you hear killed by police? What, 3? Michael Brown and a couple others maybe?
Because that's what fits their agenda.
Yeah. But out of 6,000, all right, this year alone, up to about, it was roughly about 3 weeks ago when I watched this show, and he was on Judge Janine's show, which I love her show. By police at that point this year, total killed was 561 people. Now, out of those 561 people, remember Black Lives Matter, which really pisses me off that they say Black lives as in no other life matters.
Exactly.
Out of the 561, 275 were white. Okay, now remember, their preference is that blacks are being killed by cops. 275 white people killed by cops. 136 black folks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 86 Latino, and then the rest, figure it out, were, Asian or what have you. Now, with that being said, blacks are more likely to commit felonious times by 6 times the national average.
Well, and here I just go into this to a search engine to type. I was going to look up some stuff on that, and I type in blacks killed in Chicago.
Oh,
What's the first thing that rolls up? What's the first thing?
Blacks killed by blacks, probably.
No. Black Illinois teen killed by police was shot in the back. That's the first thing that pops up. It's a Huffington Post article. That's the problem with the mainstream media.
But that's mainstream media, and that's the thing we have to get people to really start digging down and deep diving and getting to the truth of the matter, because that is not the truth of the matter. And there is actually I'm trying to find it now. There's a webpage that is devoted to the whole Chicago deaths in Chicago, because they have so many. And I'm trying to find the webpage while I'm doing this. Oh, here we go. I got it. Here we go. And this updates. This is a live count. Okay. August to date, killed in Chicago, 43 people. That's just, were killed. Shot and wounded, 189. Now, in Chicago, you know how many homicides they had?
Nope.
47. So they had 43 that were shot. The week of 8/14 to 8/20, which would be what week? The week we're in now, they've already had 7 shot and killed. 41 people in total shot. Now, keep in mind, these are people not shot by cops. These are gangs out there shooting people. Year to date in Chicago, total people shot in Chicago, where the toughest gun laws are. Okay, so let's keep in mind, they're trying to blame the gun. So they got all the tough gun laws. Total shot year to date, 2,651 folks. 408 of them shot dead. So blaming a gun ain't working. That ain't cutting it. It is criminal activity. And until they decide to quit trying to blame the damn gun and go after what the real problem is, which is criminal activity. Give these cops, just like up there in Wisconsin, really, you're going to let a bunch of thugs stop ambulance, EMT, police, and fire? They couldn't even put the fire out at the gas station. I mean, think about it, guys. You got a gas station on fire. You got fuel there. If that thing had exploded, it would have been horrendous. But they wouldn't even let fire in. And the videos that I saw, like you were talking about, they were bragging that they had control of everything. If you let them control something like that, it's only going to get worse. It ain't going to get any better.
Well, I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, and he's a black male, and he's probably in his mid-30s, and he and I were talking about this very subject, and he said to me, he said, they're embarrassing a whole bunch of us. And he said, it breaks my heart because the country's looking at the good ones as bad because of what the few bad ones are doing, acting a bunch of idiots in the street, burning stuff down. He said, that's so stupid. He said, if I go home and fight with my wife, I'm not going to burn my house down over it.
Exactly.
He said, that's just how stupid it is. And he said, it just is so disheartening to him because of the fact that he said, I don't feel that way.
Oh, and just a hint, I have had a message about calling in. So bear with us. If you want to call in. I've got lines are open, guys and gals. So go ahead and feel free to call in at this time, and we'll try to answer questions. We'll keep the call-ins to a couple of minutes because we got a few callers that have already hit me up wanting to call in, and that is perfectly cool. We do encourage you guys to call in and get involved. I want to hear about it, but I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be a left-wing caller and try to call in with some crazy stuff, you best have your facts lined up because I'm going to jack you up with the truth.
Bring it on.
The Angry American will not cut you any slack. Highway Jack, don't hold back, baby. So you better be ready for it.
Just looking at some of these, I pulled up something on Breitbart, facts about, let me back up and tell you what the exact topic was on this thing. 5 devastating facts about black on black crime. And you know, kind of getting off subject a little bit, but it was talking about.
No, don't digress.
I wouldn't do that.
That's my job.
Fact number one: over 1,400. Over 1,400.
You're out of line.
Now I'm not out of line on your radio show. 1,400 more Black Americans murdered other blacks in 2 years than were lynched from 1882 to 1968.
Lynched. I am glad you used that word. Those numbers are astounding. But again, you're talking about facts. Liberals don't care about facts.
Fact number two: Black people, mostly men, commit a grossly disproportionate amount of crime.
All right, here's the thing. Sotomayor TV, he made a really good I'm telling you guys, go to the Angry American page, ask to join. We'll get you on there. You can see, but he made a very valid point. And now the number may have changed, tweaked just a little bit because of population, uprising. But blacks account for 13% of the U.S. population. However, they commit over 50% of the crimes. Now, here's the thing. And again, I'm not blaming and saying all blacks are bad. I'm saying the good blacks need to step up to the plate. Because you guys are going to work, you're doing what you need to do, but you can't let people like Jasmine Richards, and if you don't know who she is, her name that you might know her by is Jasmine Abdullah, who is the organizer of Black Lives Matter.
Well, what about Al Sharpton? I got something.
Well, I tell you what, you want to hit Al Sharpton up. And, we got a caller.
All right, let it go.
You're on the air with Highway Jack, the Angry American.
Highway Jack, this is Bob. How are you?
What's going on, Bob, our tried and true caller? I think you've intimidated other folks, man. I can't get other callers.
No, you don't intimidate anybody. You're a big teddy bear.
Bob's our only fan, Jack.
Is that he's our number one fan? Not our only fan. He's our number one fan.
Okay, we got two more. My kids are sitting at home watching. What's going on, Bob?
All right. Well, you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Scared Straight. I'd like to touch on that for a minute. I was a corrections officer for 3+ years. I lived the Scared Straight on the other side. And there's a lot of people that have been good people that have been caught in bad situations. And however, the majority of my interaction with inmates have been the Black Lives Matter group, and you've touched on that, and I'm not gonna browbeat that at all. Another thing I just wanted to talk about, and I'm gonna push this every Tuesday. Post-traumatic stress disorder. 22 veterans a day, if not more, commit suicide.
Well, yeah, because that's an average. That's an average number, 22 on average. So, I mean, it could be, unfortunately, a lot more than that on a daily basis at times.
And I'd just like to say that I was issued a challenge from a very good friend of mine, a supervisor of mine, to do 22 push-ups a day for 22 days. And I'm on day 4 now. We're both on day. And being 56 years old, fat and retired, it's a little bit harder than what it used to be. But when I get to 15 or 16, I remember I think about number 23 and I think about number 24. And I just wanted to promote post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's not necessarily combat related. You could be a first responder on a tragic, horrific accident scene, and and they are affected just as much as somebody being shot at.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Bob. Not to interrupt you, I spent almost 20 years in the fire service and working medic work, and you're exactly right. I know these guys going over to the sandbox are coming home, and it's really affected those guys probably more so than what the fire and EMS and police officers are being affected, because they don't see it on a daily basis. They do see it, but not bad calls every day, but it does affect some of those guys.
Well, and here's the thing, Bob, to your 22 push-ups. Let me give a shout out to another listener out there, retired Sergeant Brett Gash in, I believe, California. He did the 22 push-up challenge, and he did it for the 22 days and completed it. So I want to give a big shout out and props to him. He posted him doing push-ups every day, and he did the 22 push-ups. So big shout out and big props to you, Brett Gash, retired Sergeant Brett Gash, that is.
Well done, Brett Gash. And just to touch on the PTSD, I mean that is very dear to my heart. My father returned from Vietnam. God rest his soul. 23 years plus service, and I never really got a chance to talk to him, adult to adult, as to what he experienced. However, times have changed. He's gone through what he's gone through, and I've gone through what I've gone through. However, however different that may be, there are similarities that will never change. And that goes along with, like I said, with the first responders. And I encourage everybody that's either listening or will watch this at a later time to support post-traumatic stress disorder. And actually, it is not a disorder. It's post-traumatic stress. It is not a disorder. It is.
Well, it's actually, yeah. I mean, it's basically a syndrome. That's the thing. It's just a shock syndrome, and it's something we have to deal with for those people dealing with it. And we've got 1 minute before we go to commercial, but I do want to what you're saying, Bob. Absolutely. I mean, get involved with folks out there. Don't do this alone. There are plenty of people out there to help support you. No doubt about it.
And Jack, on a personal note, I want to thank you for the recent private messages, and I'm back on both feet, dude, with help of a lot of angels. And
hey, amen, man.
I'm glad to call you one of them.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, Bob. Thanks for calling in. We are about to go to commercial break. We will be right back with you. Thanks so much, Bob. Talk to you later, my man.
Ciao, dude.
I mean, for you YouTube listeners out there, as you know, I said Military Mike was going to be in the house, and I'm going to throw him under the bus because I was going to let him talk about PTSD. But he's not here. He's out eating dinner. Asked me if I needed a co-host to come on and hang out, and bailed on me. I hope he's a good-looking guy. I mean, I hope she's a good-looking woman.
But he ain't listening
now,
to YouTube.
If he's listening, shame on him.
YouTube.
Yeah, this is YouTube. This isn't on the airwaves. So
if he's listening to the app, he can't hear it.
If he's listening, shame on him. We're back. All right. Highway Jack and my sidekick, Tim. Angry Americans talking about everything going on. All right. I got to tell you guys, talking about PTSD, and I heard, or hopefully you heard me tell Bob, do not go at that alone. But here's the thing, and I am not a counselor. I do have a bracelet on right now, as a matter of fact. It's spreadinghope.org. Now, this is for cancer, but, you know, it's all about hope, guys. And hope is what you have. And that's something that and this is not that crappy Obama hope. This is real world stuff. Don't go at PTSD alone. If you're suffering, let somebody else know. Don't stay at home, locked behind a door. And I know it's tough. I totally get it. We've all had our share of struggles and strife. But you know what? The thing about it is you are the one that controls your destiny. You and nobody else. No matter what anybody tells you, there's nobody that can do it for you. You have to do it. Now, can you have somebody help you along, encourage you along? Absolutely. So find something out there that you can become engaged in, because the worst thing you can do is sit at home and do nothing. Find a group to get in, even if it's a singles group, if it's an outdoors group, find something to get involved in, some sort of charitable organization. There's a lot out there. I mean, you can go to your local Goodwills and places like that and see if they need help. I know that I've had some people that have volunteered their time to go out and pick up things for Goodwill and stuff like that. And Tim, you may know some groups. I don't know.
Not right off the top of my head. I don't. But I will say, and I'm sure Jack will feel the same way. If you are having issues, you need somebody to talk to. I'm one of the admins on the Angry American radio page. Hit me up, PM me. If I can't help you, I will darn sure make sure that you get somebody to talk to.
Well, we are right at 500 people on the Angry American radio page. And out of those, a large percentage of those are military, law enforcement, first responders. So feel free. I mean, I'm not telling you to get on there and tell all your personal stuff, but you can get on there and you can meet people. You can talk about PTSD. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we're in the process of trying to work some stuff out to do that. But the biggest thing, don't get yourself caught in a rut. Don't stay at home. Don't stay behind. Get out. Find something. Do not go to bars. Okay. Don't go out and get yourself polluted, drunk, and all, because that we all know is the road you don't need to go down. Find something to get involved with. And I know not everybody is a Christian, and I understand that. But for those of you that are, or for those of you that are on the fence, your local church is a great place to go. And if you're not a Christian, go to the church anyway, because you may find that that's for you. And again, this is not a Christian promoting radio thing. We are Angry Americans, but you know what? There is one thing that will always help me through any strife I have, and that's the Lord above. So with that being said, I'm not going to stick on, promoting the that kind of thing, but I will tell you, if you haven't found Jesus, that might be the best place for you to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my opinion. And for what it's worth, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, well, and like I said, hit me up. I mean, send me a PM. I'm not going to air out anything about you. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that I've got a lot more in my mind that I haven't told than I have over the years. 20 years in the fire service. There's just stuff that I just don't talk about. And hit me up. I'll be glad to. Like I said, if I can't talk to you, I'll find somebody that can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's a ton of groups out there. But as I was picking on Miss Richards, as most people won't know her by, Jasmine Abdullah is her
Abdullah.
Yeah, it's always Abdullah or Muhammad, or something like that.
What if it's Muhammad Abdullah?
Yeah, it could be. But earlier this year, which imagine the mainstream media didn't pick up on this, but she was picked up and charged for Penal Code 405B in California, and what that is defined as lynching. Now, it by the penal code, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to string somebody up, but it's the thought of pulling someone out of a group, like they were pulling people out of the cars, and that falls in the thing of lynching. Now, unfortunately, because of all the political blah blah blah, she was only sentenced. It was supposed to have, I think it was a 3 to 4 years, 2-year minimum, with 3 to 4 years being the max, depending on the crime. She was sentenced 90 days. She didn't even serve a week and was released on her own recognizances. Now, that sends a really good message. Do wrong, and we'll let you off if you scream, You know, that the whole thing about screaming racism, me, you, and probably, I would say at least 70% of America is fed up with it, even the Democrats.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and I'll tell you this, just because I told you, I talked to a good friend of mine who is a black male in his mid-30s yesterday. He is fed up with it. It's something that he and I had a 10-minute conversation about it, and it was one of those deals where he said, you know, I'm tired of it. You know, it makes me look bad for these people to be doing this. And it's like I told him, I said, it's a product of the mainstream media and the government. What are they doing? One thing that aggravates me to no end, if you see people on the news and they're black, what's the first thing they call them? African Americans. It's division. It's plain and simple.
The gentleman that we spoke of earlier, and I forget his name, that you called his name out from
Tommy Harris? Which one?
The one from Milwaukee. That was a point that he made. He's an American. He did he's done several videos. I encourage you guys to we'll tag these names later when we can, but you can go on the Angry American page, and again, ask to join. We'll get you on there, and you can see some of the stuff and really enlighten you. But you know, the Black Panther leader, and I could never say his name, Omawale or whatever. Right now, he's calling this is a war, flat out. He said this is a war, and I don't understand that, because the people they're defending to be, you know, war, to say that we need to fight for these people are criminals. You know, I mean, that's what kills me. And he was asked if this was going to be a civil war. Okay, and I'm going to pick on his intelligence right now. And he said, no, it's not going to be a civil war because it's not a country against another country.
Oh,
that's all I'm going to say about the guy.
We'll leave it at that.
I don't think any more needs to be said. He, you know, the intelligence level there is the elevator's not even getting out of the basement on that.
It's stupidity.
Here it is, and it's uninformed, misinformed. It's either uninformed, misinformed, or both. And you know, there are a ton of people out there that are getting it right, but they're not as vocal as the ones that are just trying to cash that check.
They're hidden.
Yeah.
The media is not going to, I mean, and that's another thing that I talked to some other black friends of mine about is, you know, especially when you see, and this was on the Dallas and the shootings in, where was the other one? Louisiana. What you're seeing on the mainstream media is a small group of, and I'm going to say it, thugs.
Oh yeah.
Out burning down and tearing up and throwing rocks, and you know, and he said, you know, the sad part to him was, and this was another friend of mine, a different black guy. He said the sad part is they wouldn't pan across the street to see the peaceful protest.
Oh no, they're not going to do that, because that doesn't follow the narrative.
Exactly.
It doesn't follow, and that's the whole problem. We've got to wake people up out there. And you know, we have changed the format because of the Milwaukee thing. And I don't know, I think we've talked a pretty good bit about Milwaukee, but let's talk about the Clintons for a minute.
I'm gonna spit this one out real quick.
All right, go right ahead.
Just because I want to give you the laugh. They said that, and the person that wrote this said Al Sharpton must have been asleep, because his tweet on the Milwaukee shooting was, quote, "Getting calls about police shooting in Milwaukee. Let's wait on more of the facts before we respond." Enough of that.
Al Sharpton didn't write that.
Oh yeah, he did. It was on his Twitter page. I looked at it.
It must have had a PR guy or something.
Like I said, he was asleep because he had already started writing when he wrote it.
Well, you know, since he's gotten fired and all that, maybe he's thinking, well, maybe, you know, I got to get some money in the bank. I got to change a little bit.
Well, and it was funny because the tweet actually come out off of his Twitter page after the riots had started. After.
Oh yeah.
So he waited till after everybody started, and he said, "Oh, wait a minute, we need to wait." Yeah, shut up.
Sharpton's a waste of time. But what I do want to talk about is, we know that Clinton lies. I mean, anybody that's voting for her, come on, guys, wake up. You know, I'm absolutely beating a dead horse when I talk about her lying, because she lies about lying so much. She's been interviewed. There's nothing. I mean, she's just lied so much. And like I said, when they were doing the interrogation of what department was it? Oh man, I can't remember now, but the Department of Justice one of their other departments that was doing the interrogation, when they asked them, can you tell us what's in the emails? They couldn't even share that amongst themselves. It was classified information.
It was that classified.
But yet you got this district attorney girl up here somewhere up north that lied and perjured herself, and they're going to prosecute her. And she's a Democrat. I'm kind of seeing a trend there with Democrats, but maybe not all of them. But if I were her, man, I would be finding me a good lawyer saying, look, if Hillary's not getting prosecuted, why should I? But speaking of Clinton's, and we'll talk about Bill's health in a minute. And there is a list called, there's called Friends of Bill's, and then there's the Clinton body bag list. And it's over 50 people, and it goes back all the way back to, when they were first in. And I'm just going to name a few of these folks that have been killed and give you the craziness that goes along with it. July 97, Mary Mahoney was murdered just after she was to go public with her story on sexual harassment in the White House. So she says, I'm going public. Boom. She gets murdered. Vince Foster died of a gunshot wound to the head. It was ruled a suicide. He was a colleague of Hillary Clinton at the Little Rock Rose law firm. Again, could be coincidence. I don't know. Ron Brown reported to have died by impact in a plane crash. Well, a pathologist who examined him reported that there was a hole in the top of his head that resembled a gunshot wound. You might say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm only going to hit on a few because there's 50. I'm not going to do the whole thing.
And we're going to go over, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's all good.
We are definitely going over.
It's all good.
Paul Tully, DNC political director, he was found dead in a hotel room in Little Rock. Okay, now keep in mind, all these people are somewhat related. It's a lot of folks dying here.
Tells me I don't want to be friends with the Clintons.
Yeah, you don't want to be part of the Clinton fundraisers, and you don't want to be in the DNC. Ed Wiley, he was found in the deep woods in Virginia, gunshot wound to the head. It was ruled a suicide. A lot of suicides going on here. But he was also involved in the fundraising events. Maybe he was going to cough up some stuff there and let them know. Jerry Parks gunned down in his car at a deserted intersection outside Little Rock. Parks' son said the father had a dossier on the Clintons. Again, coincidence? Maybe. James Birch died from a gunshot. Suicide. And it was reported that he had a little black book. Now, of course, these people are not, going to tell you who they are. But get this, James Wilson was found in May of 93, a hanging suicide, and he had ties to the Whitewater field. Again, all related to the Clinton. A lot of folks dying around them folks, man, I'll tell you. Now, this is the one that is a double whammy right here. Cathy Ferguson, ex-wife of Arkansas trooper Danny Ferguson, was found dead in 94 in her living room. Guess what? Gunshot wound to the head. I'm starting to see a trend here. It was ruled a suicide, even though she had several packed suitcases there, like she was going to go somewhere. Danny Ferguson was a co-defendant alongside with Bill Clinton in the Paula Jones lawsuit, if you remember the whole Paula Jones thing. And Cathy Ferguson was a cooperating witness for Paula Jones. But yet she committed suicide, a gunshot wound to the head, and she had her bags packed.
And it was probably in the back of the head.
It was, as a matter of fact. And then Bill Shelton, who happened to be Cathy's fiancé, the girl with her bags packed that committed suicide, guess what? He was also found dead.
Yes.
Guess how?
That one I don't remember.
Gunshot wound to the head.
Imagine that.
Was also ruled a suicide. Now, either, there's something going on or working around them folks just drive your ass crazy. I don't know.
Well, in that list is pretty lengthy, and a lot of those go back to the Arkansas governor days and all. But recently, back in July, there were 5 in 6 weeks.
Well,
this
yeah,
was recent,
well,
and that's what I was looking at.
Yeah,
Sean Lucas. Sean Lucas was one of the, let's see.
He was the lead attorney in the anti-Clinton DNC fraud case.
Yes, he was. And he was found dead.
At home.
At home. ruled that he died in his sleep, but he was found on the bathroom floor by his girlfriend.
Must have been a long walk to the bathroom. His ass fell asleep, right?
Well, I don't know if it was a long walk or if he just slept in the bathroom.
Well, speaking about, the recent stuff, 6/22 of this year, John Ash, he was a UN official. He died suspiciously the day before he was set to testify as a top official agent for the DNC and the Hillary thing. And then don't forget, you got Seth Conrad Rich, who was a Democratic staffer that was shot in his back multiple times on the way to meet the FBI to discuss election fraud. What a coincidence. And of those that you were talking about, Victor Thorne, he was an author of the book Exposing the Clintons. And I don't know the title of the book, but he was found dead of a gunshot wound on a mountaintop near his home August 1st of this year. I mean, like you said, the list goes on, and the beat don't stop till the break of dawn. I'm here to tell you. Shahreem Amiri, nuclear scientist, blah, 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 blah. He was in the United States. He returned home to Iran. And a few days later, he was executed for being a spy. Well, here's the thing. He was also mentioned in several of Hillary's emails on her private computer server. But yet they said he was killed for being a spy. Coincidence? Maybe. Doubtful. And then here's the last one I'll talk about because the list goes on and on. Vincent Fleck, the father of Clinton's physician, Dr. Daniel Fleck, was found near his home just 24 hours. Now, this was recent. This was 8/11. 24 hours after releasing Hillary's most secret medical records to the public. He wound up dead. Well, but that didn't have anything to do with Hillary. Nothing at all.
No.
No matter what you believe or what the non-mainstream media, says. Nothing to do with it all. I don't know. I'm thinking it's a little cray-cray.
What we look like on time?
All right. We got 3 more show minutes left.
We got more than that. We just might have a commercial coming up in 3 more minutes.
No, we've gone over. It's 8:05.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll talk till 9 o'clock. I'm having a good time.
Oh, after
last week's nap I took.
Yeah, you were kind of asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
Guys and gals, don't forget, we are, Mr. Jenny says we're going over. Highway Jack says, okay, then.
I'm awake this week and I'm prepared.
But I do encourage you guys to go on our page and check out Sotomayor TV. And did you find that guy's name? The Milwaukee dude? Hadn't found that one yet?
Which one?
The one that was just on Hannity.
Oh, James T. Harris.
James T. Harris. James T. Harris. So check him out. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah. He lets them rip.
Man, I'll tell you. But the guy is so eloquently spoken.
Yeah.
Highly intelligent.
Educated.
Yeah, highly intelligent. And he keeps his emotions out of it, which if you go on the gun side of life, one of my favorite gun guys in the public eye on YouTube is Coleon Nior of the Pew Pew lifestyle. He is a black gentleman, believe it or not, resides in Texas most of the time, and he's a spokesperson on NRA. And that man does one heck of a job talking about guns and gun rights. And I mean, this guy is so good and cares so much. And again, very intelligent, very well spoken. Recently got his law degree and is a practicing lawyer. I mean, that's pretty doggone cool. In fact, he was on Glenn Beck's show, or either he may not have been there to announce it, but Glenn, gave him the props for doing it.
I don't know. I don't listen to Glenn Beck.
Yeah, I'm not a Glenn Beck fan, but
and I'll call him out right quick, like Glenn Beck, and I'll tell you another one that just really irks me is Eric Erickson here in Atlanta.
I'm not familiar with him.
He's on, as Rush Limbaugh used to call it, we suck and blither, WSB, in the afternoons. He and Beck both have really just irked me to the point that I don't listen to either one of them anymore, simply because, we get to the point of where the majority of the people in this country, Republicans in this country, have decided that they want Donald Trump to be the nominee. That's the way it works. Well, because their guy didn't get selected,
right?
They have done nothing but bashed Trump, and it's aggravating to me because Trump wasn't my first choice.
He wasn't mine either.
But he is the nominee because he was selected by the majority of the people. So therefore, I will support him.
And all the other Republicans said and signed, sealed, delivered that they would support him,
and they didn't.
And they need to be dealt with.
There's three.
That is, that's a heinous crime, and I'm using the word heinous.
Well,
but the one thing I forgot to mention about Hillary that is absolutely comical. Did you see her little spiel on positive gangs?
Oh yeah. Positive gangs. That's like family.
Oh yeah. She said they had to have something to go to. So this is like Feinstein's comment saying that if all the good people would put their guns down, the criminals would too. I mean, I thought that was the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Well, that along with the one where they said, if they just quit selling guns in stores, that nobody could buy it. That's like crack.
Yeah, do they sell crack and heroin?
Walmart.
Yeah,
Walmart's got it.
Yeah.
Or as they used to say, Kmart's got it on the blue light special.
Oh man, but I mean, I really don't know if Feinstein or Clinton is worse, because Clinton's saying positive gangs, and I'm thinking, I know she's trying to get the black vote, but seriously,
you know what a positive gang is?
Freaking kidding me?
Do you know what a positive gang is?
Well, I wouldn't. I know where you're going with that, but I wouldn't call them a gang. I mean, things like the Boy Scouts and
I mean, it's a group of young black kids, white kids, whatever, that play basketball at the YMCA.
Yeah. But that there again,
that's
the word gang is not what I would put it.
Take it out.
Yeah, I mean, wake the hell up, Hillary.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, this woman is saying anything she can. And, at one, I forget, and you may remember, may not, but what really, I was in the office doing some work and had her loudmouth going, halfway listening to it, and she's ranting about, Trump this and Trump that, and he's going to raise taxes, and she's doing a whole middle class speech, and she says, Trump says he's going to do this, and he's going to do that, and he says, and we're going to raise the taxes on the middle class, and everybody applauded.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like,
that's how...
I'm like, you guys don't even care what she says.
No, that's exactly what I was saying.
You don't hear nothing. I mean, you talking about, I thought Obama was the Pied Piper. Hillary's got him beat.
Well, it goes back to, did you see the video where she decided to read the teleprompter where it said, sigh? Well,
now see that actually that beat the Feinstein and that beat the positive gang, because she read that. Oh my gosh. Sigh. She read that and she's reading. I forget what it said before that. She goes, sigh. And I'm thinking, oh my God. She had another one of those, what did she call her breakdown? Short circuits.
Yeah.
She short circuited. What the hell is she going to do? Short circuit with the nuclear launch codes?
You're damn right.
I mean,
watch her. Watch her.
Putin's already calling Obama out, talking about he's no leadership. I mean, absolutely said he was no leadership. And Putin doesn't. He knows America's lost. He knows we're like a fart in a whirlwind, man.
Yeah, well. The sad part about it is, most of the people aren't lost. It's the government's lost.
Well, and that's what he was alluding to.
Exactly.
He realizes that we still have a gun behind every blade of grass, and
probably some behind glass too.
Yeah, we got them behind glass. What the heck?
I do.
But
hey, I want to read you something right quick. This is pretty interesting. You may have heard it, and if you have, you can stop me, and we'll.
Well, if I heard it, doesn't matter. Let the audience hear it.
All right. Now, when Hillary ran her presidential campaign back in 2008, her campaign co-chair was, as a guy I love to listen to in the morning says, Debbie Wasserman.
Yeah.
Schultz. Okay. Let's say hypothetically that after losing to Obama, Hillary Clinton wanted to be assured of the nomination in 2016. What better way to lock it down than having the campaign co-chair lead the party?
Yep.
Okay. For this scenario to be possible, Hillary would have to not only compel the current chair to step down, but also for him to recommend Debbie Wasserman Schultz to lead the Democratic Party as its chair. Right?
Oh, I know. I'm with you. I know where this is going.
One would assume that Hillary would need to promise the current chair something in return.
Oh, got to get me. Hey, what's in it for me? It's always the question.
So the chair who had stepped down in 2011 and recommended Debbie Was-a-Man Schultz to succeed him was who?
I'm going to guess her vice president candidate, maybe?
Mr. Tim Kaine, Hillary's VP pick.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Is it not interesting?
It's just like the deaths. It's coincidental. It's absolutely coincidence.
Yes.
Don't be a conspiracy theorist. I mean, don't let the facts and reality, skew your thinking.
No, see, that's the problem is they don't want thinking people to look at this because we see through their stupidity.
No, it's the whole Democratic thing is I've already got my mind made up. Don't confuse me with the facts. That's their mentality. My mind's made up. Don't confuse me with the facts because I can't process that.
Right. Okay. So what we look like on our break?
We have 3 minutes. I've backed this up and we're at roughly 8:15ish.
We're gonna have to bust past that just a little bit because
I'm guessing you have something you just got to share with the World Wide Web.
Really, there's a couple of things that I don't really have to. I can do next week, and I've done close this stupid thing down now. One thing that I was talking to you just before the show about it, but I don't know how many of our listeners have heard, and I know you have because I just talked to you about it. The NFL, for those of you who are football fans, the Dallas Cowboys decided that they were going to put stickers on their helmets this season to show their solidarity with the Dallas Police Department. This is the city that they play in.
Hey, that's a good thought.
And what did the NFL and the fine Roger Goodell do? Speaking of Roger Goodell, by the way, he is a liberal Democrat and a Clinton and also Obama supporter. He told them absolutely not. But as the person that told me about it, well, I had read it prior, but that I talked to about it said, well, if it had been something like the Black Lives Matter sticker or something, then he would have been okay with it.
Well, yeah, because then they couldn't deny it because it would have been a racist thing if you said that you couldn't put that on there.
Well, exactly. So just little things like that just really get under my skin. I just get so aggravated about it. But I don't have a whole lot more. I mean, I know I gave you a whole. Yeah, exactly. I see you over there circling. He's circling his list over here.
Well, I can tell you, I already disagree with several of these, but that's just
well,
me.
you can disagree with them. You don't have to read them. I just printed it out for you because you like those fun facts. Wikipedia. I'm sorry, WikiLeaks.
They're actually the new reporters because they're about the only ones that tell the truth anymore.
Oh, have you heard about them trying to classify them guys as terrorists?
Get out of here.
Cyber terror. I swear. I was kind of what word do I want to use here? I'm just going to go all out and say I was pissed because a lot of the people that were coming out and saying, of course, you had people like Mitch McConnell said it, and of course, you got what's idiot's name up there? Harry Reid. Harry Reid said it, but the one that really made me madder than anything was Rush Limbaugh come out and said it too. But anyway, yeah, they're trying to classify them as quote cyber terrorist. Hell, I think they're heroes, just like
they're telling the truth. They're cyber terrorists.
Well, the fact that they hacked, but see that here's the problem: is they did not hack it; they got it from somebody else.
Oh no, it's just like the guy that got killed for releasing, Hillary's records. I mean, nobody hacked it. He released it, and then he paid the price for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but yeah, they were hacked by somebody else, and then they leaked it. But anyway, on to the story. Back when they were having the Benghazi hearings, the wonderful Hillary Clinton sat before Congress and was questioned by Senator Rand Paul about the weapons coming out of the annex in Benghazi being shipped through Turkey to Libya and Syria and ended up in the hands of ISIS. And Hillary said her response was, "I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. You'll have to ask the CIA."
Well, I mean, that goes back. Putin actually, when he called Obama pretty much an idiot and had no leadership abilities, he stated that pretty much the United States is the ones responsible for giving ISIS all the weaponry they had. I mean, let's think about this. How many F-16s did Obama give the Muslim Brotherhood?
Oh, exactly.
Where do you think they went? It didn't go to protect any good folks.
No, absolutely not. But come to find out, when these emails come out from WikiLeaks, there are, and Rand Paul talks about this in a video he put out in length about how she needs to be prosecuted for perjury because she perjured herself in front of Congress when the WikiLeaks emails come out and they found out that she did in fact know about this.
Oh yeah, I mean she's lied so much she wouldn't know that. She's worse than Obama, and Obama, as much as I hate to say it, again, I respect the office. Unfortunately, I can't say that I respect the man that's in it right now. And I mean, that's just, it's unfortunate that that's where we're at. But as a country, we got to stick together, wake the hell up, and fix this thing. And you got to vote for it. There was a study done. I forget the institute that did it. It's on the Angry American page. But if you look at it, they made 50. Most of these polls where you see, Hillary leading by 10%, 15%, Trump leading by 5%, whatever. Those are only done by a small group of people. Well, this institute, and again, if you go on the Angry American page, it is there. They polled 50,000 people in the United States, 1,000 people per state. And unlike Obama, who thinks there's 53 states, but anyway.
57, get it right.
Oh, is it 57? 57. I think he said 53 one time, 57 other.
That's because he's probably smoking dope like his daughter.
Oh yeah, that's true. We didn't talk about her twerking and pot smoke. We'll talk about that next week. Matter of fact, we'll put it up on video. But they polled 50,000 people. 33% were Republican, 33% were Democrat, and 34% were Libertarian. And they asked them. They went the whole process. But it come out that Trump was ahead 69% to her 13%, I believe was the number. So I mean, the whole polling system, unfortunately, is like everything else in the mainstream media. You can't trust it.
Well, they've got to set the stage for when they do like they did 4 years ago and cheat.
It's the liberal precedent, just like we talked about last week's show about how all the people in the liberal media, they all are connected. They're family, they're sleeping together, And when I say sleeping together, I mean literally sleeping together. Husbands, wives, cousins, or husbands and wives sleeping with their cousins, or whatever it is.
I was going to be ugly, but I don't want to upset our Alabama listeners.
Nah, we wouldn't do that.
But yeah, you're exactly right. But they've got to set that stage for the fact that when they do cheat and win, if they showed the actual people that are showing up to her rallies or whatever you want to call them, there's nobody there.
Well, they offer $50 a seat to sit there, but
no, that was the DNC.
I know that was at DNC, but Trump's last rally was, where Elton John had his concert. Elton John had sold out and had like 8,000 seats sold, and then Trump goes in there for his rally and has 12,000 seats. Just blew. I mean, think about it. I mean, Elton John is a huge entertainer. But yet Trump shows up and has more supporters show up than the amount of people that would show up for Elton John concert.
But there again, they've got to show that she's ahead in the polls, because if she's behind in the polls, and then election day comes, November 8th rolls around, and all of a sudden Hillary wins, people are going, what the hell?
Oh yeah, well, they're doing just that with Trump. They're showing him behind so that when he's pissed off, when he loses, they'll just say he's a sore loser.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's what it is.
I just if they do cheat, that man gonna be like a bulldog.
Oh well, either way the election goes, we're gonna have crazy cray. It's gonna be insane. Talk about riots and everything else.
Either way, well,
I don't know if we'll have riots if Trump loses.
No, because we don't do that.
But I mean, there are going to be there are some Republicans out there that are extremists. I mean, there's I won't hide that fact. It does exist. Now, I was going to talk Second Amendment stuff next week. We will start the show off. We're going to do some gun stuff.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about some how to pick your first handgun for those that haven't done so yet. But as always,
I was going to do it tonight, but
Yep.
I just didn't make it.
Yeah, we kind of run out. It's we had plenty of facts. Milwaukee really just, I mean, the stuff that went on there this past week was just insane. I hope, again, prayers to those people up there. There are a lot of good people, and hopefully they can get that situated. But we're going to close the show out with some fun sex facts. Dr. Love and fun sex facts.
Well, you were talking about not agreeing with a lot of those. We never agree with a lot.
Well, I agree with some of them. Some of them are, and the ones I disagree with actually are nothing that pertains to me. I just disagree with them. I mean, I'll give you, here's one I disagree with. They say that the average age for a teenager to lose their virginity is 17 to 19. Come on. Yeah.
I disagree with that.
Unfortunately, I wish that were true. I'd feel a lot better if that were true, but I disagree with that. But also, where did they take the poll at? I don't know.
Unless you're my daughter.
Yeah.
And that better be 49.
Yeah. And married for 20 years.
Exactly.
But here's one that it's at the top of the list, and I already knew this, and it's kind of funny, but a lot of people think that vibrators were invented just purely for sexual pleasure.
Nope.
And it wasn't. The funny thing is that they were invented to help women with hysteria. Not saying women get hysterical about things. Only every other freaking thing you bring up, they freak out. But, if you don't believe that vibrators work to help women with hysteria, take your wife's vibrator away from her and see what happens. You'll find some hysteria going on in the house. And here's the latest thing. The first thing people do after sex is cuddle, right?
Nope.
No, not hardly. According to Consumer Electronics poll, the first thing they do is check their Facebook and Twitter accounts.
Well, you gotta look at the source there. I mean, Consumer Electronics is not going to.
I'm gonna have to agree with it, man. Facebook, Twitter. That's what everybody does first thing. First thing in the morning, I check mine. I see what's going on. I mean, that's the modern day newspaper.
Right after sex in the morning.
Not after sex,
right.
No. But I'm just saying that that's what some of these people do. Which sex do you think gets busy more often, men or women?
I know the answers. I've printed it out for you.
Well, for our listeners out there, of course, everybody thinks that men, but wrong answer. 17% more women getting busy than guys. Well, no figure. You know how easy it is for a woman to get laid? I mean, come on. We kind of got the deck stacked against us. I said deck with an E, not dick.
That's kind of like the guy that was at work that day, and he was all excited. His buddy said, "Man, what's wrong with you?" He said, my wife only gives it to me once a year. He said, and you're happy about that? He said, tonight's the night.
Yeah. It's time to get on up out of there. The longest orgasm. Although this really doesn't, they're basically asking who has the longest orgasm. Like, you really have to ask that.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
it all depends on how good he is.
Well, I mean, if a woman, first off, the woman has to have one.
Like I said,
she's got to get there first. And for some women, let's face it, there's some women out there that can't even give themselves an orgasm. How the heck they expect a guy to give it to them?
Like I said, it all depends on how good he is.
Yeah. Well, like I said, some women they haven't figured it out yet. They're still searching for the O. That's the whole thing. When you say, have you had orgasm? They have no clue.
What's that?
But yeah, they don't know. They have no idea. But female orgasm lasts 20 seconds. Okay, let me tell you something, guys. If that's the best you can get out of your woman, I'm just saying. That's 14 seconds longer than the average guy.
That's all I get is 20 seconds.
Yeah?
Yeah, 20 seconds. About 17 times.
Yeah. Bullshit. But here is something that I do agree with. This is something that I absolutely agree with. Orgasms are good for you. It's proven. It's proven.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me. Women even know that. Women on average, 72 hours is about the average for a woman to desire an orgasm. It's like milk. It does a body good. And if they go past the 72 hours, if you notice your woman's getting cranky and all that, hey, grab her, take her, don't even have to go to the bedroom, man. Make it exciting, And and I'm just going to leave that door open for you if you want to go outside, whatever.
You know.
But, the reason they are, it's good for your health. They can lower a woman's risk of heart disease, stroke, breast cancer, and even depression. Now, we know if a guy's not getting laid, he's depressed. So we know that an orgasm is definitely good for a man. Boom, there it is.
Maybe that's what they were talking about.
Well, they were talking about it being good for women. And sexercise is not a myth. Sex counts as a workout, at least for guys. I don't know about the women, but for me, I mean, it's a workout. If you ain't sweating, something ain't happening. So
you ain't doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not every time. There is the occasional quickie. Quickies are good.
Quickies are okay.
Sticky to quickie and go on down, or it's better than a wiki quickie. But get what you can. And here's the thing, guys. If you ever wonder, and I know guys have, about it being hard to pee after sex. I mean, that should be a no-brainer. I mean, really. But if you're wondering why it's hard, it's not that something's wrong with you. It is, it's kind of hard to pee after sex because you've released some hormones and stuff, and let's just say you might be a little blocked up. You know what I mean?
It's not hard. I just seem to pee on the wall.
No, oh my God. Well, see, at least you didn't really lie and say you were peeing on the ceiling.
Don't stand that high.
Here we go. Now it's hard for women to conceive. We all know that. Everybody tries all these tricks, do it standing up, this and that.
Basters,
turkey basters, all this kind of stuff.
Whatever.
But here's the thing. Most women only release one egg a month, right? That can be fertilized. Don't you have to ask yourself, really? You had to be the one? That's the kid you came out with out of all the times you had. That's the one a month that you got. Some would just be better left alone. I'm just going to say that. Now, here's something, and I know that you know this because I've heard about your kinkiness. I know Brandy takes a whooping to you because sex increases your pain threshold. During sex, you can take a little more pain. No kidding. Men can do a lot of stuff during sex. They will put up with a lot of stuff if they're getting laid. I mean, come with it. Come on. Like, that's a secret. Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, they back to the kids losing virginity. That's about the only thing I really see on here out of all the things, I
don't agree with that one.
Yeah, I don't. But, maybe they were in a better place to live than we live in. I don't know. Oh, and here's the last one, and it is the last one. It says your brain turns off during sex, sort of. If your brain is focused on something other than having sex, then something is wrong with your sex.
Off, all right.
Yeah, something is wrong. All right, guys and gals, that is another edition down, a broadcast of the Angry American. We hope we enlightened you and enticed you to get out there and learn a little bit. And hopefully we taught you a little bit. And again, check out those sites that we mentioned because they are some good sites, and it's people from all around the world out there talking about the same thing that you and I are concerned about. So, Tim, if you got anything to close out, you got any kids having birthdays you need to mention? Like,
no. I'm good for
none that you know about.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
No, we're good. We're good for another couple of months anyway.
Well, before we close out, I will say I do have a couple of things going on next week. There is an ALS run going on up in Buford, Georgia on Saturday. I'll post that on the Angry American page tonight, hopefully, and you can check that out. We also have a motorcycle ride for ALS for Don Brown, actually. Both of these events happen to be for Don Brown. And to help with the astronomical medical bills. And I said it before, I'll say it again, that Ice Bucket Challenge does no justice to what ALS truly is. Guys and gals, it's a rough and tough, brutal disease. I mean, they all are. I mean, just like I said, I've got this armband on, spreadinghope.com or .org rather. And that's just what it is. We need to spread hope. So if you know somebody out there that's battling one of those tough diseases, do all you can to help them out. Be a supportive friend, family member, or what have you. And if you see those events going on, put yourself in that family's shoes. If you can go help and do something, even if it's handing out water or whatever it may be, jump in there and help them out because we've got good people. I don't care what they're from, Republican, Democrat, or whatever. We have got good people out there dying from bad diseases. So check out the Angry American page. I'll have those 2 events up. We've got 50 seconds. You got anything left to go?
Nope. Y'all do your own research. Don't listen to the mainstream media. Come on now. Hope y'all have had as much fun as we have, and we'll see you next week.
That's right. Even though our facts are factual, I ask you guys, go check them out. And if you find something that we said that was wrong, let me know about it, because all I want to do is give you the facts, Jack. Spread the word so we can be heard. The Angry American Radio Show is here for you. And we hope we hear from you next week. With that being said, Highway Jack says, God bless you and God bless America, baby.
Oh, look at there, YouTube.
Second of Martin,